Yes. How may I help you?
I'm Dr. Susan Doe, EDD, expert in educational practices, and hired by your university to ensure that the student educational experience is the best that it can be.
Even after 20 years as a university professor, I always welcome and enjoy opportunities to enhance student learning.
That is nice. Now, Mr. Green, I have examined your qualifications. Your bachelor's and master's degrees are from Regional University. Your PhD is from State University. You have published 10 books from university presses, over 300 articles in refereed journals, about 200 conference presentations, and have served as a historical consultant for numerous PBS presentations. You have also won the Distinguished Teaching Award for your university 4 times, 1 for graduate teaching, and 3 for undergraduate teaching, as well as the University Research Award twice. Am I correct about your qualifications?
Yes, Ms. Doe. That is an accurate summation.
Excuse me. Mr. Green, I'm Dr. Doe, EDD.
My apologies, but you referred to me as Mr. and not as Doctor or Professor. And in most professional conversations among equals, I do not feel titles are necessary.
Well, Mr. Green, I'm a doctor of education, which is what this conversation is about. We are not equals when it comes to educational practices. I'm the expert. According to your qualifications, it took you 6 years to get your PhD. I earned my education doctorate in less than 1 year. I'm also a lawyer with a JD. So having a Juris Doctorate as well means I'm twice a doctor.
Congratulations, Dr. Doe. Where did you study? And what was your dissertation topic?
My doctorate in education is from Online For-Profit University, and my dissertation was titled What Students Want from 20 Different Websites. That dissertation took 2 weeks to complete. My JD is from the Legal Academy of Online Studies in America, which was super intensive. Why? Oh, you finish the program in 3 months as opposed to 3 years at other law schools. They only recommend that you attend a traditional law school for 3 years after completing their coursework if you want to take the bar exam. It did cost $250,000 for the degree, but it was worth it.
Okay. Now what do you wish to discuss with me?
Mr. Green, your material is out of date and offends some students.
For example,
you have students analyze this paper called the Declaration of Independence. If you do that, then you must change the phrase, merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions, to noble Native American, whose known rule is to protect the environment peacefully and provide hours of fun and entertainment in their casinos.
I do not understand.
Also with the Constitution, you need to change Article 1 from excluding Indians not taxed and 3/5 of other persons
To what?
Indians to noble Native Americans, obviously, and cut 3/5 entirely, and provide a hyperlink to an explanation of how African immigrants to the United States were not accurately counted due to poor transportation systems in the early U.S.
African immigrants. Do you mean slaves? Forced servitude?
Yes. They are to be referred to as African immigrants. You probably don't understand the negative stigma it might cause today. What if your children learned their ancestors were captured by people of their own race in Africa, and brought here against their will to be slaves?
My ancestors were slaves, and my children know the history, which is why they do not take freedom for granted. What about the Civil War, Reconstruction, Civil Rights Movement?
Oh, the Civil War? It was a nice discussion and friendly competition among countrymen. Civil for civilized, and war is another term for contest. You know, like the Olympic Games. Reconstruction. Let me think. After the civilized competition, both sides wanted to return the competition sites back to their original condition, and not leave memorials that would attract more tourists.
What?
Civil rights movement. None of that stuff about assassinations, dogs and fire hoses in Birmingham. If you must, you may talk about the lunch counters, where African Americans became upset because their orders were taking longer because of increased crowds from the civil get-togethers occurring in the area.
I guess the March on Washington is just a parade led by Dr. Martin Luther King.
No, silly. He was a preacher who led a free narrated tour of the Capitol, which was very popular and had a large crowd.
Did the World Wars or Cold War happen?
Of course not. Those were just popular movie scripts back in the day. Can't let students today realize that men like Hitler and Stalin were real. If you want, it is okay to say they were movie characters like Jason from Friday the 13th, or Freddy from Nightmare on Elm Street.
What?
You see, the key to a successful student experience is not to scare them by telling them about bad things in the past. Also, any assignments completed should be graded solely on the attempt, and praised so as not to hurt egos. I'll check your revisions later. I have to see the literature professor and a few others.
Is that about Huck Finn and Mark Twain?
No. We got that one corrected. But this Emily Dickinson person is too risque. Wild Nights, Wild Nights. Wrong, wrong, wrong. And then math. No partial credit, and showing all work, when students can simply get the answers from the internet. That hurts student self-esteem. And the economics teacher trying to tell students that one large pizza for $10 provides more pizza than the 2 medium pizzas for $12 deal. He told students to use a math formula to calculate. Hello. That's not the subject students are paying for in his class.
I am so glad that we have people like you to ensure the future of strong education.
Mr. Green, I know. Here is my card, if you have other questions, which you should.
Dr. Jane Doe, EDD and JD. Expert in educational practices.